What fake scenario do you imagine while falling asleep?
I picture myself in the middle of the forest and it's blizzarding. There are obviously dangerous creatures all around. But I'm in my weather and monster-proof cabin all wrapped up like a cinnamon bun in my king-size bed.
I like to think about an imaginary tortoise walking around in a desert eating little flowers and cactus. I don't know why, but imagining that little guy always puts my mind at ease. When I am at the dentist getting a cavity drilled or a tooth extracted, I try to dissociate by imagining that tortoise. For whatever reason, it's become a coping mechanism for me.
This is so stupid, but here we go. I've disabled and have chronic pain problems, so I always go to bed with some kind of bad ache or cramp to keep me awake. At some point, I got into the habit of daydreaming that I was injured and am recovering. Sometimes I'm a soldier on an alien ship, sometimes I'm an SCP, or a Marvel villain turned good. Sometimes it's angsty, sometimes more sweet. Whatever the background, it's always that I have many people around to care for me, I'm finally safe from whatever situation harmed me, and I can relax and sleep away the pain. My therapist surprisingly encouraged it as a coping mechanism when I told her about it. It works wonders.
Have done this semi-regularly, weekly, for at least 15 years. I'm in a tiny igloo with my head facing the entrance. There is a small fire in the entrance with wolves growling at me on the other side of the entrance. Strangely, it's extremely comforting because I know nothing can get to me. I'm usually asleep within 10 seconds of my head touching the pillow.
This is very weird, but it used to be a lot of fun lol. When I was a kid, I had this big window near my bed. So, before getting into bed, I'd imagine that there was a spooky witch gliding towards my window and I'd have to jump underneath the blankets in time, before she saw me. I'd cover myself up real quick and fall asleep.
I build a house. I go through many different types of homes as well. Mini homes, big mansions, modest style homes, or even bus homes. But I build it in my mind as I walk through it. It's a good imagination tool that doesn't keep your brain too active but still has you in a dreamlike scenario.
I imagine I'm different mythological creatures. Sometimes I'm a selkie playing in the Arctic Ocean, sometimes I'm a massive dragon soaring over ancient forests or a tiny little fairy flitting between blades of grass taller than myself.
Getting kidnapped and taken to Mexico to be sold, but before I try to escape and one of the also kidnapped workers there catches me. But he helps me and ends up escaping with me. And then him and I are on the run from Mexican sex traffickers and we have to stay low for a week before we can fly out of there, but during that time we have to stay in a small motel room and he takes me out to the woods to teach me to shoot guns and fight and shit. And then we have a few moments that make me wonder if I have feelings for him? And then we're able to get to the airport, but the bad guys are there and he has to protect me, and then we are able to get away and we fall in love, but then he is charged with helping the bad guys, so he has to go to prison even though he was there against his will. So I wait a year for him, and we eventually reunite and get married.
I'd like to think I'm floating in the middle of the ocean. Water so still with no other sound than that of my own breath. Looking up, not a single cloud in sight, only a beautiful blue sky kissed by the sun. I close my eyes, take a deep breath and submerge myself. I open my eyes, staring into the dark abyss. I'm sinking. The light from above fades. Darkness engulfs me, but then, I see lights. Are they stars? They are. I'm floating through space, passing by stars and cosmic events that have no true words to describe them when witnessed firsthand. Anyways, that's how nights usually go.
This is really embarrassing, and I'm probably gonna get judged heavily for this. I imagine myself tending to this hot brooding man. He hides his feelings, is rude and harsh to me and tries to push me away, but secretly deep down he cares. Anyway, I imagine this scenario where he is working hard, and I enter the room. He looks at me in an irritated way and orders me to get out. Then I reply telling him no and then force him to eat food and get some rest.
I break into Tiffany's at midnight. Do I go for the vault? No, I go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. She tells me to stop. It's her father's business. She's Tiffany. I say no. We make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and I escape in one of their uniforms. I tell her to meet me in Mexico, but I go to Canada. I don't trust her. Besides, I like the cold. 30 years later, I get a postcard. I have a son and he's the chief of police. This is where the story gets interesting. I tell Tiffany to meet me in Paris by the Trocadero. She's been waiting for me all these years. She's never taken another lover. I don't care. I don't show up. I go to Berlin. That's where I stash the chandelier.